child stars who haven't figured out they aren't famous at all. Fame can be a fickle thing. One day you're up, the next you are down. And sadly, some people can have a hard time figuring it all out. Here are some child stars who haven't figured out that they aren't famous at all. Number 8. Corey Feldman. Once the star of the popular adventure film The Goonies, Corey Feldman is now known for his awkward and totally cringe music performances on The Today Show. His song Go For It was literally mocked universally to the point where Feldman didn't even want to leave his house anymore. But even with all the criticism, Feldman bounced back a month later with another song called Take a Stand. You won't believe it, but this song confused audiences even more than the first one, and who can blame them? Because Feldman actually threw the American flag on the floor during his performance. Talk about disrespectful. Somebody really needs to tell the man that all these terrible performances aren't exactly helping him become more famous. Number 7. Tara Reid. Tara Reid made her very first TV appearance in a game show called Child's Play in 1982. She then went on to star in the show American Pie. It really looked like this child star might be going places, but sadly, her career seemed to kind of fizzle out from then on. Reid became involved in a series of questionable projects and weird sci-fi films, especially the never-ending Sharknado films. And guess what? Reid knows her career is going nowhere. She even said so in an interview with Today Extra. And to make matters worse, Reid even walked out of an interview in which she was supposed to be promoting her latest Sharknado film because the host brought up her plastic surgeries and her terrible appearance on the reality show Marriage Boot Camp. To be honest, the host did put her in a tight spot, but walking out of interviews isn't really going to help her career. Number 6. Haley Joel Osment. Haley Joel Osment once starred in the thriller movie The Sixth Sense, but unfortunately, it looks like that is his only claim to fame, because ever since then, this former child star hasn't been able to land any other memorable roles. The few roles he has gotten in Future Man and Silicon Valley, he got more on the basis of his past fame and not for his acting skills. Seriously, his latest role didn't even require him to change his appearance or to really branch out with his acting skills. Even though Osment says he would like to play a recurring part in a series, we wouldn't really bet our money on the actor landing such a gig for some time to come. Number 5. Jeremy Jackson. As a kid, Jeremy Jackson made it big when he landed the role of Hobie Buchanan on the wildly popular show Baywatch. He actually starred on Baywatch for 8 straight years, but then quit the show because of his ego issues and drug addictions, which were so bad that he ended up abusing everything from cocaine and ecstasy all the way to hardcore meth. This just turned him into an outcast in the TV industry, and the only work that has come his way since then is reality show gigs. But let's just say that even his reality show appearances aren't doing much to help him make a comeback in acting. Instead, his career just keeps on nosediving because of all the scandals he has been involved in over the years. From 270 days in jail because of a stabbing incident Jackson was involved in, to being thrown out of yet another reality show for sexually assaulting fellow cast member Chloe Goodman, it doesn't look like Jeremy Jackson will be making a splash on the big screen anytime soon, or ever. Number 4. Dustin Diamond. This guy once played the memorable character Screech on Saved by the Bell, but sadly his career, if it can even be called that now, just went from one disaster to the next. I mean, all the guy has achieved since his Screech days is having been in a sex tape and stabbing someone in a bar fight. But guess what? He wasn't even in that sex tape. You won't believe it, Diamond himself admitted this in an interview with Oprah. I mean, if the guy needs to resort to cashing in on a fake sex tape to stay relevant, then he really needs to rethink his strategy because this is clearly not working. But it looks like Diamond didn't get the memo because he then came out with a mudslinging book, Behind the Bell, in which he literally tried to cast his fellow actors on the show in the worst possible light. And believe it or not, but he literally made stuff up for his book and didn't even take responsibility for harming his former castmates' reputations. Seriously, the guy seems to think all he needs to do to remain famous is stir up one controversy after another. Number 3. Brenda Song. Yes, Brenda Song is the London Tipton from everyone's favorite childhood show, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. It's true, no one can deny how good she was in her role as the snobby rich girl London Tipton, but sadly she hasn't been able to land any other good role ever since. Honestly, the only work she has done since then is to play a small role in a Facebook movie called The Social Network, in which she acts the part of a groupie doing very questionable things in a bathroom stall. Plus, Plus, Song does have a bit of tabloid history from when she was dating Miley Cyrus's less well-known brother, Trace. Believe it or not, Song then hooked up with the child star of all time, Macaulay Culkin. Together, they really are a former child star couple who just can't seem to break out from the fame of their former roles and experiment their acting chops in more versatile projects. Number 2. Drake Bell. Drake Bell was once really popular because of his role in the Nickelodeon series Drake and Josh. Seriously, almost every teenager must have seen that show back in the day that it was famous. And it looked like Bell would be carrying that fame forward after he landed the main role in the superhero movie, but that just wasn't the case. Apart from a string of gigs doing bit parts and voice work, Bell hasn't been able to get any major offers from the TV industry. To make matters worse, he got all the wrong kind of publicity on social media after his apparently transphobic comments about Caitlyn Jenner. Next came the whole Josh Peck wedding drama because Bell acted really hurt over not being invited to his former Drake and Josh co-star's marriage ceremony. And you won't believe it, but Bell then went back on his own statement and apologized for kicking up such fuss. His music career has also not exactly been much of a success either. The one viral moment that Bell had in his singing career was when he stopped mid-show to scold a kid in the audience who kept throwing balls on stage. If you ask us, he does seem to go from one disaster to the next. Speaking about disasters, let's not forget about the time Bell's ex-girlfriend, Melissa Lingafelt, accused him of physically and verbally abusing her. Bell denied everything and said he would pursue all legal options, but all this scandal isn't exactly helping his image. Number 1. Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown once starred in Disney's That's So Raven. But things have just gone downhill for the star ever since then. 4 years after the show ended, Brown was caught in a DUI case. If that wasn't bad enough, his repeated failure to show up for court hearings ended up with him getting a 180 jail sentence. Anyone would think that would make the former child star sober up, but no, he wouldn't have got himself all tangled up in another scandal when he got himself into a fight with his girlfriend in the parking lot of a police station with, believe it or not, meth in his pocket. Yup, he was carrying around drugs in front of a police station. After all these nasty brushes with crime, it came as literally no surprise that Brown was not asked to take up his old role in the That's So Raven sequel, Raven's Home. Even though Brown wished the sequel all the best, it doesn't look like he took the snub all too well, because he went on to make a really weird appearance on Vlad TV, in which he talked about some supposedly sexual encounters with his former co-star in explicit detail. That must have been really awkward for everyone watching. But Brown didn't stop with just that one appearance. Since then, he has given many more barely coherent interviews chock full of swear words, on topics ranging from drugs, his sex tape, the rappers he hates, and of course, Raven's Home. You will not believe it, but things just continue to go down for Brown, and he was actually arrested not once, but many times for different offenses. It got so bad, he eventually ended up on the Dr. Phil show to talk about his drug addictions and mental health problems. Brown really has a long way to go if he really wants to turn around his career, but from the looks of things, we wouldn't really bank on him making a return to acting anytime soon. So what do you think? Which child star do you think really needs to figure out they aren't famous at all now? And which do you think there is still hope for? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.